best to understand some of this tattva that's behind it. Otherwise, people will be misguided, or their intelligence will not be perfect in their understanding. And because many people are from India or from Nepal, and they're growing up with people who are worshiping Lord Shiva and emphasizing Lord Shiva, so this competition and this disagreement is there. And so they want opulence for you as well. That's why you have to also worship Lord Shiva, right? So this is a generational issue, right? When I came to Nepal, I didn't even know. I asked them, like, what is predominant religion that everybody's practicing here? I asked some common people, in the airport. And they said, we're Hindus. And I was like, whoa, really? And I said, well, how many people in Nepal are Hindus? And they said, oh, like 85%. I said, wow, I didn't expect that answer either. And then you're looking everywhere, and it's all pictures of Lord Shiva, isn't it? In the airport, on the wall, all the way. And I said, oh, okay, they're worshipping Lord Shiva here. And they're Hindus, right? So they're worshipping demigod worship there. And then we find out that one of those places is Himalayan mountains. So that's where Lord Shiva is spending a lot of time. So it seems natural. They're going up in Himalayan mountains, so okay. Let's see, where are we? Those who are worshipping the material energy, Mahamaya, they receive suitable reward for such activities. Those who worship the, what is Peters? What is that? The forefathers. Some dead people that died before. And how exactly can they hand out anything? That's my question. I'm a very practical man, They're dead. They don't have anything. All right, anyway, you work and you receive similar results. That's what it says. Worship the Peters and receive similar results. That is a double meaning, But those who engage in devotional service or bhakti, they worship the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, Vishnu. They go to Vaikuntha planets or Krishna Loka. One cannot approach transcendental region, this Paravyoma, the spiritual sky, by worshipping Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other demigods. So whatever power they're allocated, all of that power is only usable within the material energy, and all they can give is material energy. So they cannot give anything that's in the Shuddha Sattva transcendental platform, and neither they're situated on that platform, and they can't give the rewards from that platform. So this is their limited ability under the modes of material nature, but they cannot give that eternal results which are from spiritual sky. So that's why it says it's one of the offenses is to equate Lord Vishnu with Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, because it's literally heaven and hell difference, or transcendental spiritual world versus prison house of the material world. And there's just variations based on piety of where you're sitting in that prison house, but it's still under modes of material nature. So therefore, all the devotees of Lord Shiva, they are able to obtain many material acquisitions under these three modes of material nature. And we should know that such devotees are simply collecting products that are manufactured by these three qualities. So everything they have is temporary and inferior, right? The three qualities are again subdivided into 16 qualities, senses, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, mind, 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So all of these, separated or extensions of those three qualities, that's all under modes of material nature. And that material happiness or opulence means just the gratification of those material senses by other material elements. That's the best you can do by worshiping demigods under the modes of material nature. There's a lot here, but I'm not going to read absolutely everything. Just basically, it's a description, analytical description of material elements and different ways that we enjoy those material elements through material senses. But all of that, as much as you break it down analytically, it's all material energy in different ways and forms interacting with each other, all on this inferior, temporary material platform. So material devotees, devotees of Lord Shiva, they are opulent only in terms of material qualities. So factually, such so-called advancement of civilization based on these material qualities is the cause of the entanglement in the material existence. So for cultivating materialistic desire, materialistic sense gratification, we're just simply entangling ourselves in the cycle of birth and death, or this karma bandhana, action, reaction, sinful activity, sinful reaction. So it's not actually advancement, but degradation. That's the big illusion, right? They're calling it progressivism, advancement of modern civilization. But the more degraded and the more entanglement in the causes of sinful activity and sinful reaction, it's not really advancement, it is a degradation of the society. So the conclusion is that because Lord Shiva is the master of the three qualities, his devotees are given things which are just manufactured by the interactions of these three qualities, or these qualities for the satisfaction of material senses. That's the best that he can give, and the best they can do is it can somehow satisfy your material senses, but it cannot satisfy your soul. And it's certainly not satisfying the Supreme Soul, because it's all different types of sinful activities. Only Sanatana Dhamma, pure loving devotional service to the Lord, only that is free from karma, jnana, any other type of sinful materialistic desire. So Krishna says that the purpose of the human form of life, of the different various material types of sense gratification, unless, it says, in other words, favors that you receive from Lord Shiva are not actually beneficial to the conditioned souls, although materially such facilities seem opulent. So they think they're being benefited, but actually they're being degraded. So instead of purifying and liberating them, it's contaminating and degrading them deeper and deeper into this cycle of action and reaction, of sinful activity and sinful reaction. So that is the vanchana. That's the definition of vanchana, where you think you're being much benefited, but in actuality, in factuality, we're being much degraded. So it's not actually beneficial to us. So that's important. Distinction between worshipping devotees of Lord Shiva and what he's able to give, and why they're worshipping Lord Shiva, and how that is not actually beneficial, although when you're getting all material opulence, people will say, wow, you're really blessed, right? You're really lucky, right? And you're like, no, 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 no. Shukadeva Goswami continues that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Sri Hari, he's transcendental to the three qualities of the material nature. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that anyone who surrenders unto him will surpass, will transcend this control of the three qualities of material nature. Therefore, since Hari's devotees are transcendental to the control of the three modes of material nature, certainly he, Krishna, is transcendental to those same three modes of material nature. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it's stated that Hari or Krishna, he's the original Supreme Personality, Bhagavan. There are two types of prakritis or potencies, namely internal potency, Swarup Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, and then there's external potency, that's Mahamaya. Mamamaya, Krishna says. So Krishna, he is the overlord, cause of all causes of all of those different energies, and controller of those energies directly or indirectly. And of course, he's the witness and the judge, and he's fulfilling desires, and your rewards or benefits are either material or spiritual. So therefore, Krishna, Bhagavan, he's above all of the demigods. All of the demigods consider themselves to be merely following the directions of the Supreme Controller or Supreme Advisor. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they consider Bhagavan, Krishna, Vishnu, Hari to be the Lord, and they are the servant. They consider themselves a servant. It's funny, they're fighting over who's better, right? And then the one that they're worshiping is saying, I'm a servant of the other person that you're fighting against. They should just say, you know, case closed, right? Drop the mic. Therefore, he's Supreme Controller, Supreme Advisor. He's above all the demigods who are merely following the directions of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Advisor. As such, if one directly follows the instruction of Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, as described in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then one gradually becomes nirguna. He becomes purified and liberated or transcendental to three modes of material nature, above the interaction of all of these different materialistic elements and qualities. And to be nirguna means to be bereft of material opulence. So you're literally getting liberated or free from the entanglement of materialism and material opulence. For devotee, material opulence is a threat to bhakti. Therefore, they're not running after that because they can see it as potential obstacle. Whereas those worshipping demigods, Lord Shiva, they say, no, I need this benefit. They think it's a great benefit. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, Krishna, Vishnu, instead of being puffed up with material opulence, one becomes enriched with spiritual advancement of knowledge in Krishna consciousness. So that's a heavy competition when you're materialistically motivated, that you Krishna consciousness. Which one sounds better? From a materialistic point of view, right? So to become transcendental or nirguna or have real fearless, they're completely fearless or fearful, anxiety, right? People try to kill you, they try to, take everything you have, they blackmail you, they, so much. How do you protect your money? How do you hide your money, right? You're trying to, deal with so many greedy, lusty people, degraded people around you. So they don't have eternal peace. They're not fearless. There's no religiousness. There's no real knowledge. They're not detached from all of this thing, completely entangled. That's why you see in history all of these people who have everything materially, and they become like drug addicts, or they commit suicide, or they become so disillusioned and bewildered because they thought and were taught and programmed, if you just get all of the money and you get all of the material assets, then you'll be peaceful and happy and satisfied. And then they found out that's a big lie, and if anything, they're more miserable. And then if they're not spiritually minded, then they become almost mad, because then they say, well, what's the whole point of living then? What's the point of the human form of life? So either they become disillusioned and kill themselves directly, material qualities, material assets or benefits, right? So how is it the devotees of Lord Shiva become materially opulent, whereas the devotees of Lord Vishnu do not? Shukadeva Goswami specifically refers to King Yudhisthira, your grandfather, who was asking same thing. That way Maharaj Parikshit would be encouraged to think that he was related to Krishna and that his grandfathers were intimately dear devotees and connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although by nature Krishna is always very satisfied, when Maharaj Yudhisthira asked this question, the Lord became even more satisfied, because this question and its answer would bear a great meaning for the entire Krishna conscious society. So he became very happy by this type of question and this trying to understand this thing, because then the answers would be benefiting to everybody within the entire Krishna conscious society. So whenever Lord Krishna speaks about something to a specific devotee, it is meant not only for that devotee, but for all devotees. That's why we say every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, is meant for our soul. Not just, oh, that's for that devotee or that devotee. No, it's meant for all of us. Instructions by the Supreme Lord are important even to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and other demigods. And if one does not take advantage of the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who descends within this world for the benefit of all the living entities, then he's certainly very unfortunate. If we cannot hear it, we cannot understand it, we cannot accept it, then we're very unfortunate. So Lord Krishna, he answered this question himself that was asked by Maharaj Yudhisthira. And Krishna says, if I especially favor a devotee, and especially I wish to care for him, wake up. Wake up. If I especially favor a devotee, and especially care for him, I'll wake them up. And then the first thing I do once I wake them up is I take away all of their riches. Oh man, I should have stayed asleep, I woke up just to find out how lucky I was that Krishna's going to take all of my riches away. Just because he loves us so much, and he especially is caring for us. So when the devotee becomes penniless, pauper, whoa, penniless pauper, or is put into a comparatively poverty-stricken position, his relatives and his family members, they no longer take any interest in him. So this is the way to do it. Just become materially useless, right? And just say, all I can give you, Mom and Dad, is my soul. And they're like, I can't eat your soul. So you said, no, I just give my soul. What's more important? What's the most important thing is the soul, right? So I don't have any money. I can't really do anything materialistically, but I'll give you completely my soul, and then you see who are these people, isn't it? No, I'm not interested in the soul. In position, his relatives and his family members, they no longer take any interest in him. This is just useless fellow. Just what can they do for us now? So okay. Then the phone will stop ringing. Your text messages will slow down because they're not going to get anything out of it, right? So when Krishna wants to cut off that material attachment, he just takes away all of your money. He takes away all of your so-called material opulence, right? Then the family members no longer take any interest in him, and in most cases, they give up their connection with him completely. And then you'll be like, well, where's the love? I thought you were saying you love me. And you see, what is love? They love your money, your potential for making materialism for them. You don't have that potential, you cannot produce that, there's no love. You'll see very quickly. The devotee then becomes doubly unhappy. Because now you don't have anything materially, right? And nobody looking at you anymore, nobody interested in you. So now you're unhappy materially and now also spiritually, right? The devotee then becomes doubly unhappy. First of all, the devotee becomes unhappy because his riches have been taken away by Krishna. And then he's made even more unhappy when his relatives desert him because of his poverty. So then you lose your money and you lose the love. So we should note, however, that Prabhupada says when the devotee falls into a miserable condition in this way, it is not due to some past impious activities. That's a trick of Maya, right? So if you're not succeeding materially, and then nobody paying any attention to you, say, oh, I must have some bad karma, I must have done something wrong. No, it's Krishna's mercy on you, that he's helping to disassociate ourselves from all of this type of illusion and Maya. Prabhupada said, it is not due to your past impious activities known as karma pala. That's not karma pala. The poverty of the devotee is a creation of the personality of Godhead Himself. Sometimes devotees, they're thinking they're running, they have good karma, and they still try to act separately or independently of Krishna, and they think that they can depend on their good karma. But because they want to be devotee also, then Krishna, there's no more karma, so now Krishna just said, no, we're not going to let you be successful. And then they get frustrated because they're used to being successful according to their karma. And then when the apparent no good karma is manifesting, they think, oh, I must have burned up my pious activities, now I'm running on some karma pala. But no, it's actually directly Krishna removing your karma and then not letting you depend on your good karma in order to be successful materially. So the poverty or the difficult materialistic situation for Krishna's devotee is a creation of the personality of Godhead. And similarly, when a devotee becomes materially opulent, that is not due to his pious activities. So you could have people who have very, very bad karma, but because they surrender to Krishna, somehow Krishna may make them successful. That success is not based on any good karma. It's just Krishna's allowing them for his service to become more materially opulent. In either case, whether the devotee becomes poorer or richer, the arrangement is made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So remember we said minute independence. So if we surrender, we say, okay, I'll surrender and cooperate with Krishna, then Krishna takes control. If we don't do like that, then Maya takes control. So this is for those who really want to be devotee, then Krishna's taking control. And then he's just doing what is required because we said, we convinced Krishna we want to surrender and serve him and become devotee. And then once Krishna's doing what's in our best interest to be a devotee, then now I'm in some kind of a difficulty, right? I'm not getting ahead materially, I'm not getting ahead spiritually, then the doubts will come, you see? That's how Maya is attacking. So if you know the tattva, then when Maya is attacking, then we can understand things properly. Otherwise we misunderstand it, right? Krishna does not care, you know, you're not helping me. No, he's helping us, just not in the way that we're expecting or desiring. That's why we should pray as devotee that, you know, don't give me what I'm desiring, give me what I need to become devotee, to serve you properly. If that's not going to help us in spiritual life, then why desire it? And why ask Krishna for it? If it's going to be an impediment or obstacle. So this arrangement, because now you can't depend on your money, you can't depend on your family, you can't depend on your material karma. Now we only can depend more and more on Krishna. And when Krishna takes on, then it's humiliating. Right? If someone doesn't have anything, they become very humble. And then if we're in humble state of mind and more dependent on the Lord, then we can cry out to the Lord for protection and mercy and blessing, grace, how to surrender to Him. That's why Queen Kunti is saying all of this materialism is such an impediment. So Krishna knows it's an impediment. So for those sincere devotees, those who really want to be His devotee, then step by step, He'll manage it to release us from all of that. Then we'll become more completely dependent on Him and then free from all material obligations. So if there's no conditions for the obligation, then there's no real material relationship or obligations according to those material relationships. We talked about other day. Once you surrender to Krishna, you're no longer materially obliged in any other, including from the demigods, forefathers, to your own family, community, country, etc., etc. Then, because we have went free from all of these other material considerations and material obligations, then you can focus all of your time and your energies. You can concentrate your time and your energies, your mind, your body, everything simply in the service of the Supreme Lord, in the mood of pure devotional service. So when all of that is, we're freed from all of that other obligation and thoughts and trying to satisfy and please all of these other personalities. Now only Krishna is there, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto. Now we can just be one pointed attention and think, let me just try to please Krishna in a mood of loving devotion. So it makes it easier to execute bhakti or devotional service to the Lord. So this purification and freedom from all of this materialism, material obligation, and these bodily relations especially, then we'll become freed from all these designations, these bodily designations. I am so-and-so, I'm coming from this family, from this country, all of this type of bodily relations. You're doing for the society, for the community, for the nation, or even humanity. These are all designations. These are bodily designations. Prabhupada said the material disease is this bodily conception of life. So when working under all of these different designations, I belong to this family, I belong to this society, I belong to this community, I belong to this nation, I belong to this species of life. Such identities are all merely material designations. When the grace or the blessing of the Lord on his devotee is, he frees them from all of these other designations and obligations due to those designations. And then we're able to freely execute devotional service above all of this material consideration and material modes of nature. Prabhupada says it may be questioned why the devotee is put into such tribulations or difficulties by the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. And the answer is that this kind of arrangement directly by the Lord is just like a father's sometimes becoming unkind to his sons. So apparently they seem unkind. Because the devotee is a surrendered soul and is being taken charge of by the Supreme Lord, whatever condition of life the Lord puts him in, whether it's distress or even happiness, it is to be understood that behind this arrangement is a large plan designed by the personality of Godhead. So once we surrender, Krishna is directly taking charge of us, and then he's giving us what we need, not what we want. And when you don't give the child what they want, then they say, oh, you're mean to me, you hate me, you don't like me. But the parent knows this won't be good for you. If I allow this, if I allow you to do like this, to become like this, to say like that, to move like that, you'll be spoiled. It won't benefit you. So apparently they're being unkind to their dependents. For example, Lord Krishna, he put the Pandavas into so much distressed condition. They were put into so much distressed condition by the Lord. It was so severe that even the grandfather, typical grandfather, right, Bhishma Dev, he could not comprehend, he could not at all understand how the Lord would put such dear devotees in such a distressful, difficult situation. Even Bhishma Dev was like, how is this possible, Krishna putting such dear devotees into this condition? See, if we don't know the tattva, then we say, oh, why Krishna is treating me like this? It's unfair, right? I don't like it. I'm fully surrendering. No reciprocation. He's putting me in difficulty. Then we start blaming Krishna, right? That's why we need to understand the tattva properly, because otherwise we'll misunderstand. Oh, you hate me? You don't like me? No, maybe he's not giving because he loves you. And he knows you'll become distracted and you'll get caught up again in material life, so he's just not allowing it in order to protect your desire to want to be devoted, to want to surrender to Krishna. Krishna directly controls it. So sometimes he put you under distress, sometimes he'll put you in a happiness position. Either way, that's Krishna's direct arrangement. Queen Kunti, she's saying, no, don't even put me in a happiness position, because I don't want at all any risk of being distracted by that and becoming complacent. Put me always in difficulty, always under some kind of trouble. Because that's when I'm crying to you, that's when I'm praying to you, that's when I'm depending upon you, and that's when I can directly hear and feel your direct association and comfort or protection. And if that happens, especially at the time of death, then I will have no fear, because I know that you're here, you're going to protect me, you're going to deliver me. So that's why also devotee has no fear. Everybody else is fearful. Everybody else. Your money's not going to save you. Your family's not going to save you. Right? Only Krishna will deliver his devotee. So Bhishma Dev was just really trying to understand how Krishna is allowing this to happen to my grandkids. It's like perfect grandfather, right? So he was lamenting that although the whole Pandava family, headed by King Yudhisthira, who was the most pious king, and protected by the two great warriors, Bhima and Arjuna, and although above all, the Pandavas were all intimate friends and relatives of Lord Krishna. So they were the closest, most intimate to Krishna, and yet Krishna made them to undergo such severe tribulations. Later, however, it was proved that this was all planned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as part of his great mission to annihilate these miscreants and to protect all of his devotees. So Krishna is doing many, many things all at the same time, but the basic is how to give pleasure to his devotees, how to protect his devotees, how to destroy all of that and those who are a threat to that, and how always to keep this religious principles clear, so that everybody understands this is really the only ticket, it's the only way, only solution, how to get free from this conditioned life of action, reaction, sinful reaction. The question might be raised that what's the difference between a devotee and a common man, since both of them are being put into different kinds of happiness and different type of stressful conditions. What's the difference? Some people are happy and some people are distressed. What's the difference between that and a devotee? The devotee, by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the common man, his result is because of past misdeeds. How is the devotee any better than an ordinary karmi? So if some people are getting happiness and distress, devotees also getting happiness and distress, so how is that any better? And the answer is that the karmis and the devotees, they're not at all on the same level. And whatever condition of life the karmi may be, he continues in the cycle of birth and death because of this seed of karma or fruit of activity is there. So that activity is always keeping one engaged in this cycle of birth and death, samsara, right? Whereas the devotee's distress and happiness, it's not under the laws of karma. That is part of the temporary arrangement made by the Supreme Lord, which does not entangle the devotee. So the lesson is there without entangling you and keeping you in the cycle of birth and death. That arrangement is made directly by the Lord, and it's a temporary, to serve a temporary purpose for his devotee. So there's a gulf of difference between the punishment which is awarded by the mother and the punishment that is being awarded by an enemy. It's a nice analogy, right? Both are getting punishment. One is by your mother, the other one is by someone who hates you and is your enemy. So a devotee's distress is temporary. It is not the same as the distress of a common materialistic person or karmi. Here's another question. Is this interesting to you? Yes. Does it make sense? Here's another question may be raised. If the Supreme Lord is all-powerful, why should he try to reform his devotee by putting him in distress? So if the Lord is all-powerful, just get rid of everything, fix everything. Why you have to put us into distress if you're all-powerful? The answer is that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead puts his devotee in distress, it's not without some purpose. Sometimes the purpose is that in distress, a devotee's feelings of attachment to Krishna are magnified. So you see, when you're just chanting, you just think you're doing nicely, it's not so serious, unfortunately. We're in big trouble. We're under big threat, right? We're like chanting like anything. Krishna, only you can save me, only you can protect me. I don't know, I don't know what to do, how to do, right? So those situations intensifies our dependence on Krishna, and also we will take more seriousness and shelter of chanting and crying and praying before the Lord because we're in trouble. So the Lord is putting us in some different types of troubles. We don't like it, but the end result is you have to survive it. And then to survive it, then only solution, then you realize only holy name, only Krishna is only solution. Family may come, friends may come, everyone says, oh, how can I help you? You can help me by leaving me alone right now so that I can focus on chanting. because it's the only solution. So you're asking me, that's nice, but you can't really help me. And the more I have to answer your questions, the less I'm chanting. So the best thing you can do is kindly leave me alone, right? You go chant, I need to chant, but we're not like that unless we're in trouble. Isn't it? You're checking cell phone, you're just like, taking calls, right? We don't feel like you're in trouble, right? If you're ready to be killed, right, are you checking, on what's the local news on the cell phone? I mean, let's be honest. We're feeling quite comfortable that we can multitask. So because of that, that's why Krishna puts us in trouble. You can't even think about picking up the phone because you're going to go mad if you don't pick up your beads. Isn't it? That's why. And even your devotee like Queen Kunti, still, she's saying, better. Keep me in trouble. Don't put me in any kind of risk where I'll just, even for a moment, forget about you, or become complacent, or feel myself well situated, happy, enjoying. We have this, so we want the path of least resistance. We want to just enjoy, right? So, because Krishna knows that, he's gonna create a problem for our enjoyment. He's gonna kill the party every time. Isn't it? The party's over. Sorry. Party can't last forever, right? You want a never-ending party, you have to go to Vaikuntha, right? Not Bombay or Sochi or Hollywood. Of course, that place is crazy. That's more like, what is the end of times? What is that called? Armageddon, right? It's like end of times, It's like zombie apocalypse, Seriously, it's literally zombie apocalypse. I drove there once during this COVID period to try to change my ticket or something, and it was like nobody was there, just these crazy people like walking up the sidewalk. It was just like, after a nuclear, bomb went off, and just some crazy people are just living in the trash can. And it's like, it was unbelievable. I saw it with my own eyes. Everything shut down, dirty, no car, nobody driving, just crazy people wearing masks and yelling, barking at the moon, and that's the Hollywood I was looking at. That's the real Hollywood. So, because that's near the airport, right? So you have to drive by there. It was hellish. So the party's over. And that, for a devotee, that's a blessing. Right? Otherwise you think, wow, there's so much possibilities and potential, and the sky is the limit, and, it's like, like your brother, right? He was so like living in this it's endless possibilities of investment and money and this and this and that, And then I said, well, everything's gonna crash, right? They're all selling off all of their stocks, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's another topic. We're talking about, stay focused, Maharaj. Stay focused. Because it's, my Gurudev used to say that these topics are so wide and vast and so deep, it's almost like difficult to know like where to go, where to stop, because it's all interrelated on some platform. So if Krishna is so powerful, then why doesn't he just fix everything? If we surrender to him, why he has to put us into some kind of a distress? And the answer is, when the Lord puts his devotee in distress, it's not without any purpose. Sometimes the purpose is that distress the devotee is feeling, it forces them to become more and more attached to Krishna and Krishna's holy name. For example, when Krishna, before leaving the capital of the Pandavas for his home, he asked Kunti Devi for permission to leave. And she said, Kunti Devi said, "My dear Krishna, in our distress, you were always present with us. You were always with us. Now, because we have been elevated to this royal, or to a royal position, you are leaving us. I would therefore prefer to live in distress, where I always feel your presence, than to be in a royal position, opulent position, and lose you." So when a devotee is put into a situation of distress, his devotional activities are accelerated. Otherwise, we're doing a go slow, like ass, right? So we need a stick, right? Then, okay, here we go. Now it's moving. We need a little motivation, a little acceleration. I remember the first time I was on a bullock cart, on a padiyatra. And devotee, I'm riding there, I'm like, oh, this is nice, and the bulls are walking, and he just starts beating the back of the bull with the stick, and I was like horrified. It's so like heavy, right? It seems mean. Why are you beating with the stick? They said, oh, they won't move. I was like, yeah, that's true. So we need a heavy stick sometimes, right? In order that in Prabhupada puts it so nice, in order for our devotional activities to be accelerated. Why are you doing like this? I'm just accelerating your devotional activities. Therefore, to show special favor to a devotee, the Lord sometimes puts him into distress. So if you feel that you are in distress, fear not. Krishna is right there with you. Don't forget that. Don't misunderstand that. Maya will cheat you. Oh, I'm distressed. Krishna's not there, no reciprocation, right? All stinking thinking. Because we're misunderstanding. No, Krishna is putting you in distress to force us to surrender to him, to cooperate, right? When we get in distress, we're grumbling and complaining. Why is it like this? I don't deserve this. I should be getting so much reciprocation and this and this and that, right? That's why my Gurudev said, don't grumble and complain. If you are in distress, be humble and see the Krishna controlling this, Krishna putting me in this position. Pray for power of tolerance to understand it properly and to go through it. And take shelter in order to be able to go through all of those difficulties or distress. Besides that, it is stated that the sweetness of happiness is sweeter to those who have tasted bitterness. So when you go through hell and you put everything on the line, you sacrifice everything, right? You go through so many distress, difficult situations. When you become victorious, somehow you come out on the other side. That victory is more sweet because we earned it in one sense. If you just get something easy and cheap, you cannot really appreciate it. When it comes easy and cheap, we just take it for granted. But when you strive and you go through all of these difficulties and you're working so hard and you realize how difficult it is and like this, and a very bitter time, difficult time, and then some day comes, some moment comes, you come out on the other side, then that victory, liberation, then it's much more sweet, much more appreciated. So sometimes Prabhupada is saying sometimes it's like this. You understand? You woke up. That's good. The Supreme Lord, He descends to this material world just to protect His devotees from this distress. So He's causing He's allowing the distress or causing the distress, directly or indirectly, in making His devotees or those who are not His devotee to surrender to Him and depend on Him and become more and more attached to Him. So that is all going on in order to protect His devotees and to collect those who want to be devotees. In other words, if devotee were not in such distressed, trying condition, the Lord would not have to come down here. If no one's distressed and everybody's happy, why He has to come here? If there's no fallen souls, why He has to be the savior of the fallen souls? There's no other reason to come to the material world. His devotees are also here. Those who become His devotees, they're trying to be devotee in a very hostile environment. In the prison house, where so many different type of enemies and obstacles are there. So in order to protect His devotees and those who want to be devotee, then He descends. Otherwise He'll not come down here if devotees were not in a distressed condition and needing His protection. As for His killing the demons or the miscreants or the Nazis, they're just the present day greatest demons. They're all demons, they're all terrorists, they're all death and destruction. As for His killing such demons or miscreants, this can be easily done by His various energies. Just as many asuras are killed by His external energy, Goddess Durga. So He can do it through His different energies or different representatives, right? The Lord does not have to come down here personally to kill such demons, such miscreants. But when His devotee is in distress, then He must come. So if you have to kill the demons, then He's using other energies, other personalities. When His devotee is in trouble, then Krishna, He Himself directly, He comes to protect and deliver His devotee. He must come. Lord Nrsimhadev, he appeared not in order to kill Hiranyakashipu, but to save his dear devotee Prahlad and to give him blessings. In other words, because Prahlad Maharaj was put into such a great distress, the Lord appeared in order to protect him. When the dense dark night, after the dense dark night, the dark night of the soul, there is finally a sunrise in the morning, and it is very pleasant. So now we're going through a really dark night of the soul. Everything is completely disturbed, completely crazy. And it was going to get much, much, much worse also. But somehow, after all of that, if we take shelter of the Lord, then finally Krishna, like the sun, then the next morning, then there'll be great awakening, golden age. And it is very pleasant. Birds are chirping, sun is out, flowers are going, no Nazis, no demons. No death and destruction. After scorching heat, cold water is very pleasant, right? You go into heavy sauna, right? It's like burning. Then you can jump in ice cold water. It feels very nice. I learned that in Siberia. And then when you're so cold, and the water in your eyes is turning into ice, then a nice warm fire inside is also very nice. When the devotee, after experiencing the distress, all the distresses of this material world, relishes the spiritual happiness which is awarded by the Lord, his position is still more pleasant and more enjoyable. So you have to look forward to that. Don't let Maya cheat you like, oh, it's all dark, it's all black, it's all pain, it's all suffering, this is going to just go on endlessly. What's the use? Don't let Maya cheat you out of the process. Yes, tapo divyam, divine austerity. You have to go through all of the tests, all the difficulty, all of this purification. That's the process. If we cooperate heartily, wholeheartedly, then the process is much quicker. Then you can come to this great awakening, golden age, right? This more pleasant and enjoyable experience. But because we're a little lazy, a little stupid, too much attached, we don't like a discipline, we don't want to be corrected, we don't want to be controlled, all those things working against us. We're acting as our own worst enemy. That's why it says uncontrolled mind and senses, based on all of this material designations. It's our own worst enemy, because it's cheating us out of going through the process of qualifying ourselves to come on the other side of that. So we should have faith. Maya is the one who's cheated us. Maya is the one who said, yes, just do like this, you'll be happy. That never came, that will never come. So we're trusting Maya's plan instead of Krishna's plan. And Krishna is saying, yes, do this double divyam, go through this purification, pray for power of tolerance, go through some distress, some difficulty, some challenges, then you'll come out on the other side. So we're not trusting Krishna's plan. We're not putting faith in that plan. We're just still trusting Maya's plan. So stupid are we? No, this time it'll all work out. This time you'll be happy and peaceful. And we're like, oh, really? I'm getting tired. I'm starting to doubt you, Maya. So otherwise we're like this deer running out into the desert in the scorching heat of the sun, looking for the cool drinking water. And deer's looking across the desert, and there's some nice water is over there. Then you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the desert. There's no water there. It's just an illusion. There's no happiness in the material world. When will we realize that? That's the only question. That is the whole purpose of the material experience, is when will we realize that our happiness, true happiness, real peace, they cannot be had here in the prison house. You have to go back to Vaikuntha consciousness in order to find any kind of peace and happiness and satisfaction in our life. That's the lesson we're meant to go through. The devotee, after experiencing all of the distress, all of the difficulties in this material world, goes through that, finally relishes spiritual peace and happiness that's awarded by the Lord. Those who surrender to Krishna, accept His plan, His process, and cooperate. Be simple, just cooperate. Try your best. Rededicate every day, or whenever you hear about rededicate. Whenever we're reminded of that. And we have to be patient. Rupa Goswami, he says, first you should be very enthusiastic. Right? If we don't have faith in Krishna and the Guru Sadhu Shastra, how are we going to be enthusiastic? We have to be confident that everything can be solved if we just surrender to Krishna, accept and cooperate Krishna's plan. But we have to be patient, because we have created a big problem for ourselves. Not just in this lifetime, many, many lifetimes. And all of that baggage, all of that complication, all of that contamination, like Himalayan mountains, we're carrying that. So to get purified and freed from that, there's no small task. And if the more we can be simple and cooperate and participate in a genuine way, the faster, quicker it will be. That's up to us. You want to go slow way, you want to go no way, or you want to go fast way, that is up to decide. That's why we have to be convinced that materialism will never work. There is no material solution. There is no, material benefit. It's just contaminating and degrading. So we're either purifying and liberating or contaminating and degrading. We're either part of the solution or we're part of the problem. So we have to make up our mind. What do we really want? What is our real goal? What is our real purpose? We should not be whimsical and foolish. But we have to hear that message regularly, because we forget. And because Maya is very powerful and very contaminating. It's so contaminating, powerful. Mama Maya, Krishna says. So without Krishna mercy, Shakti, blessing, how we're going to overcome all of that? Impossible. Impossible. Krishna said, when my devotee is bereft of all material riches and is deserted by his relatives and his friends and his family members because he has no one to look after him, then he'll completely take shelter of my lotus feet. So your best friends, your family, people you really like, you really love, you have affection for, Krishna will take them out of your life. Then there's nobody to think about, there's nobody to talk to, there's no friend, there's no family member, no mother, no father, no brother, sister, wife, son, daughter. Then finally we can just say, okay, Krishna, let me put my attention there. Otherwise, how's it possible? With all these attachments and desires and all of this thing, how are we going to think about Krishna? So we literally have to pray, Krishna, I cannot surrender and serve you and develop bhakti, love towards you, as long as all this material contamination and attachments and material desires and demoniac qualities and all of this madness is still there. Unless you purify me and free me, only then can we truly surrender to Krishna. And if that prayer is strong enough and convincing enough to Krishna, he'll do it. He'll help us. And he helps us by sending us bona fide guru, who's actually empowered and qualified to help us how to go through that process. And when I heard from Srila Gaura Govinda Swami, that was so heavy purification. I heard devotees talking about Krishna for many, many years. I never felt like I'm sitting in a frying pan, some kind of burning, some kind of like a heart surgery going on. And then when we feel that disturbance, then we think, oh, this is not very palatable, it's not very sweet, it's actually quite disturbing. Then Maya says, yeah, something's wrong here. You should just run around. Spiritual life is supposed to be sweet. But without going through the heaviness, the darkness, the overcoming all of these distresses, how's it going to become sweet? Mode of goodness means tapo divyam, divine austerity, then unlimited nectar. Unlimited nectar. If we could just get through that tapo divyam, to that anartha nivritti stage, then unlimited, this life and future life. Rajagun, little bit of pleasure, few moments of pleasure up front, and unlimited suffering and anxiety. The Tamagun means the suffering beginning, middle, and end. What was your poetry based on? Which mode of nature would you say? No, Deva Deva. He was a poet before. Was it all dark?
Not all of it.
Not all of it. Was most of it dark?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Didn't I read some of his poetry one time? Right? And I was like, this is so depressing. This is so dark, man. Might as well kill ourselves. So we have to understand the process. Somehow Guru Krishna helped me when I went through this heavy duty process. I never went mad. Close. Because like such a heavy heat. Right? And I worked hard, I did construction, I did a lot of difficulties in my life, I played sports, a lot of things. Like really heavy, painful type of work, right? Activity. Just sitting in Bhubaneswar and listening to sadhu, that was the most heaviest thing I ever went through in my life. You're just sitting and hearing some philosophy. Why open heart surgery? Why so just burning? And Krishna gave me intelligence. No, this is burning off all of the sinful reactions, all the false ego, all material attachments, all of this unwanted thing. It just needs to get burnt off. Just like Prabhupada says when you boil the ghee, right? You boil high heat, right? Then all the impurity comes up. Then you can just scoop it off of there. So to become purified means some high heat is required. Oh, he's not nice to me. Oh, he's too heavy. He's too demanding. Nothing's ever good enough. Right? So the spiritual master, the father, you're supposed to always find the fault of your dependent. They may be doing many things very nicely, right? But the things that they're not doing nicely, that has to be pointed out, right? Because our goal ultimately is perfection. So in anything in life, you're trying to perfect, you're trying to overcome imperfection. What do you need to work on? What do you need to overcome? What do you need to change? What needs adjustment? How do you become more and more perfect, more and more successful in any field? The same as in spiritual life. So the devotees of Lord Shiva, they're not asking for that. They want to increase Maya. More materialism, more material opulence, more, then it's more entangling, more and more entangling. So if all family members are entangled, they want you to be entangled. We worship Lord Shiva here. A family that prays together is entangled together. Yes. You're not cooperating with the entanglement. Isn't it? Yeah. It's just the truth. I saw as I was going, I had some very, not a lot, but I had some very close friends. You die for these people. This type of friend, right? Krishna they all died. I couldn't even die for them because Krishna already killed them. So I thought, like, whoever you like, whoever like you think about fondly, right? Gone. Then I just, okay, this is Krishna's mercy. Now nobody to call, nobody's calling me. Right? Then you're like a free man. Krishna did for us what we can't even do for ourselves. what is it? When my devotee is bereft of all material riches, he's deserted by his relatives and his friends, or they die, and family members. Now, because he has no one to look after him, nobody's there, then he completely takes shelter of my lotus feet. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in this connection, "My dear Lord Krishna, O son of Nanda Maharaj, you are now standing before me with Srimati Radharani, who is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. I am now surrendering unto you. Please accept me. Please do not kick me away. I have no shelter, no other shelter other than you." Otherwise, how do we make that prayer? When a devotee is thus put into so-called miserable conditions, bereft of riches, bereft of family and friends, he tries to revive his original position of material opulence. So when it's all being taken away, they're just trying more and more and more to keep it going, right? But although you're trying again and again and again to keep it alive, Krishna again and again takes it away. So after a while, it's like, what's the point? You do all of this thing, Krishna not going to let you go, and he's going to take it away or destroy it anyway. Then you'll lose, what's the point? Krishna not allowing, mercifully. Although he tries again and again, Krishna again and again takes away all of his resources. Sound familiar? Thus he finally becomes so disappointed in the material activities. And in that stage of complete frustration, in all of your endeavors, now you can fully surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Krishna has special mercy on someone who wants really to surrender and serve him, he just takes complete control, frees you from karma, action, reaction, and puts devotee in such a position that no matter what they try to do materially, if it will make us forget about Krishna and not put our energy and focus there, Krishna will just destroy it. He'll just bewilder you every step of the way. So whatever you think is logical and practical, whatever you think worked previously due to your karmic good fortune, that will not work in this field. Everything is changed now. What you thought was practical and logical, and according to your ability you can do something, you can achieve something, you can make something, that will not work now. And that's mercy. Otherwise, we'll just forget about Krishna. So when none of that is an option, then we're forced to surrender. That's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. One finally becomes disappointed after again and again, trying again and again, and Krishna again and again is taking everything away, taking away all of your resources and opportunity, potential. Then you become so disappointed, so fed up, exhausted, and that stage of utter frustration in all of these endeavors, he can finally surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Such persons are advised by the Lord from within, Chetu Guru, Antayami, just associate with devotees. Associated with like-minded devotees who understand this point. Materialistic people, they cannot understand any of this thing. They'll just go on worshiping Lord Shiva. They'll go on talking about maximizing your potential and your karma, and continuing to keep yourself in this entanglement of material activities. By associating with these like-minded devotees, they now render service to the Supreme Lord. So if everyone is all realizing there's nothing you can do except surrender to Krishna, we all tried again and again and again and again, and it never worked, it never will work. We gave up faith and hope in that. So now that's not really a potential, it's not a possibility. So then that means you have to surrender to Krishna. So now, okay, are we going to do it grumbling and complaining? Or are we going to see it as a blessing in disguise, which will now allow us to put serious energy and determination in seriously performing devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord and His devotees? We need that kind of association. If there's enough of those devotees who can keep this conversation on this topic or thread, and we can be reminded of that, then we can go through this process and not get bewildered or cheated once again by Maya due to this asatsanga. That's why Mahaprabhu said, if you're really serious about your spiritual life, you have to associate sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha. You need to hear this message, then you'll give up this asatsanga. You'll understand it's all useless. It's all binding you. It's all stopping you from being able to get out of material suffering and also to advance in the spiritual life. So that association is most important if we're talking on this topic. If we're saying we're devotees and we're associating and we're never really seriously discussing this in a serious way, then that is also useless. It's funny because Prabhupada says here, such persons are advised by the Lord from within to associate with such devotees. So when you sincerely want to surrender and serve Krishna, Krishna will give you intelligence and faith who to associate with and who to hear from. Everybody here in Mayapur is saying they're devotee. People worshipping Lord Shiva are saying they're devotee. Everybody's a devotee of somebody, right? That man came to Nepal, he said, I'm Brijabasi. I love Krishna, Gopal. I said, what are you doing here? I'm just following that guy over there with the mustache. And what was his story again? The guy with the mustache? He's just following. Was that it?
Yes.
Right? So you're following the guy who's just following. And then I'm asking him, what are you following? He said, no, I'm just following. So what does that say about you? You're following the guy who can't even say what he's following.
He said he's following the religion of friendship.
The religion of friendship. Who's Krishna says, I'm your only friend. Right? Why do you make Krishna your friend? No, I'm looking for other kind of friendship. I'm following the religion of not surrendering to Krishna. Kaitava Dharma religion. So I'm actually reading everything that I didn't highlight. Isn't that amazing? I'm reading all here, right? All of this. But the whole class was down here. So somebody has hijacked this class. And I can only think it is Lord Shiva telling, don't go for the Vanchana. Go for the Kripa. Go for the real Premdana. Right? Sanatan Dharma, Bhakti. Lord Shiva can give both. What do you want? Do you want to get cheated? Or do you want the mercy? So by associating with pure devotees, you'll naturally become inclined to render loving service to the Supreme Lord. And then immediately you will get all facilities and opportunity from the Lord how to advance in your Krishna consciousness. The non-devotees, however, are very careful about preserving the material condition of life. So if we are very, what does it say? Careful. We're being very careful how to preserve the material condition of life that's non-devotee. And if you want to hold on to it, Hari, Krishna name is Hari. Krishna can steal everything, take everything from you. So what are you going to preserve? What are you going to hide away and control if Krishna wants to take it away from you? Krishna knows the inner recesses of our heart and mind, our thoughts, our desires. We cannot cheat Krishna. Non-devotees are very careful about preserving their false ego and the material consciousness and the material condition of life. You speak English? He's looking at the devotee speaking Bengali. He's like, what's this person talking about? So he was also looking at me like, not such bad, you know, but just kind of like, okay. Generally, therefore, such non-devotees who are carefully preserving the materialistic conditions of their life, they do not come seriously to worship, to surrender and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they worship Lord Shiva or other demigods for immediate material benefit. So they're quick to do that. Of course, Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, there's no real dharma or moksha or bhakti. It's just atakam, right? Just money, sense gratification. But dharma would mean that you're worshipping demigods in Vedic system, knowing that without their mercy and blessing you cannot get anything. So we're calling that pious, even though it's a sinful desire, but at least you're going to God and God's representative. But now, why we need Lord Shiva or Krishna or any of these gods. This is all old. You just go grab it. Isn't it? Why we have to do this dharma and all of this worship and the dead, forefathers, and they're dead anyway. What are they going to give me? I mean, basically you're saying, if I worship you, will you please not haunt me in my dreams? Can you please not come in my room at night and say, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? I loved you. Don't you know how much I loved you? If you love me, you'll leave my room right now. Hare Krishna. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bhagavad Gita therefore says that those karmis, materialistic persons, in order to achieve some success in material life, they're just worshipping the demigods. Krishna says those who are worshipping my devotees, the demigods, they're less intelligent. They're getting vanchana, they're getting cheated by the material energy. Devotees, my devotees, because of their strong attachment towards me, depending upon me, they do not foolishly go to demigods. So Prabhupada explained, when you see the demigod, then you should just be respectful. You should be very respectful of their position in relationship to the Lord and the particular function and duty and service that they are doing on behalf of the Lord. So we should in no way be disrespectful to them, but doesn't mean we have to worship them. We're no longer obliged. Once you surrender to Krishna, you're no longer obliged to worship and serve demigods or forefathers or your family or the community or society or nation. None of these obligations is no longer required of you. Krishna says, if you don't surrender to me, then you are obliged. Then you are obliged. But if you want to get freed from that, then Krishna said, just surrender to me. Then you don't have to do all this other thing. You can just focus, manmana bhava madbhakto. Think about me only, become my devotee. Render loving service, bhakti, to me. That's a Sanatan Dharma. Lord Krishna said to King Yudhisthira, my devotee is not deterred by any adverse condition of life. So my real devotee, no matter how difficult was it distress, adversity, difficulty that comes in your life, they always remain firm and steady. So if we depend on Krishna, even the most difficult situation where you cannot barely tolerate it, your mind, intelligence, senses will still be fixed. Even in the most horrible condition, most difficult position, burning in the frying pan, still, you'll be sharp. You'll understand what are you doing, why are you doing, why you're going through that, what benefit you're getting. This is the process. If you cooperate, it will be very quick. On the other side of the Tapodivyam, this will be your reward, and don't grumble and complain. All of that intelligence will come to you by the mercy of the Lord and the Lord's devotee, even in the most difficult, trying situations. But we need to hear this. If we don't hear this, then Maya's just like, oh, it's a problem, and so much fear and anxiety, I don't know what's happening, and right? Then we become all emotionally disturbed. Then we just immediately start endlessly speculating. We cannot remain steady. So this is how to remain steady enough to go through all of these tests and difficulties and purifications that Krishna is putting us through in order to qualify us. My devotee remains firm and steady. Therefore, to such devotee, I give myself to him. So who can tolerate that and depend on him? He purchases me. He conquers me. I give myself to him. And then I favor him so that he can achieve the highest success of life. That's the blessing. We need to focus on that offer, that opportunity, that guarantee, and make that the goal of why are we doing any of this? How many times I ask, why are we here? Why did you come here? What are we hoping to achieve out of this situation? What is that process, step by step, that we should be accomplishing along the way? So when devotees say, I'm going through like this, I say, perfect, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. At this stage of the game, at this stage of the process, this is exactly why you're in the position that you're in. Now, do you want to increase it? Do you want to improve it? Then there's also things that we can do and understand to do them. If you feel yourself happy and complacent, you don't want to do more, then what will motivate us? Only Krishna's mercy. He'll put us in such distressed condition or heavy lashes of Maya to force us to surrender to him. The mercy bestowed upon the tried devotee, the devotees who go through all those trials and tribulations and still they don't lose faith. They just praying for power of tolerance. They go through it, don't grumble, don't complain. Those people who are tried devotees by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he describes as Brahma, which indicates that the greatness of that mercy, the greatness of the mercy the Lord bestows upon that devotee can be compared only to the all-pervasive greatness of Brahman. That means directly Krishna's powerful mercy. Oh, it's so difficult, oh, so many obstacles, so many problems, right? Because we're trying to do ourselves. It's so confusing, it's so bewildering. Why Krishna put me like this? Why Gurudev telling like that? Right? We're listening stupid mind. We're not understanding the tattva. We're not understanding the science. We have to learn it. We have to preach to ourselves and be preached to so that we understand properly what's happening. What is our goal? We have to be reminded of our goal. What are we trying to achieve? What is the process to achieve it? If we don't keep hearing that, then we're just like, oh, everything is so confusing and I'm going through so much difficulty and nobody's pure. Not only is the Lord's mercy upon the tried devotees great and unlimitedly expansive. So what is the mercy that Krishna is trying to give us, which is so great and unlimitedly expansive? When we say, I feel like I got some mercy, is it that great and unlimitedly expansive? Can you say that? Is it the finest quality of transcendental love? No room for improvement? Between the Lord and His devotees. Such mercy is completely, what is it? Chin matam, completely spiritual transcendental mercy. Without any tinge of any material qualities. That Sat, eternal mercy, is eternal, it's unlimited. Such devotee who's tried devotee of the Lord is awarded such unlimited spiritual benefit. Why are we not interested in that? We're just like, okay, if some mercy came, who will deny it? Right? We cannot fathom the value of the goal. That's why we're not getting ourselves to be enthusiastic and committed to achieving the goal. If we don't know what we're going for, how do you go for it? Why would you go for that? It's just some theoretical, sentimental understanding. Since the devotee of the Lord is awarded this kind of mercy, such unlimited spiritual mercy and benefit, why would they go and worship the demigods? Demigods cannot give that. They can give some variation of material energy, material elements. Some gold, silver, silk, marble, stainless. Another baby. So devotee of Krishna do not worship Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other demigod, any other subordinate demigod. They don't worship them. They don't have to worship them. They have no obligation to worship them. You want to worship them? Go for it. You want some materialism? You want to get the vanchana? You want to remain in this cycle of birth and death and action and reaction and sin and sinful reaction? Go for it. If that's you think that's going to make you happy, no problem. But don't ask me to do it. Don't expect me to do it. Isn't it? We're already burnt out. Isn't it? Are you burnt out? We're tired, man. We're tired. Shukadev Goswami, are you all right? Yeah. You have patience? Yeah. Huh? Shukadev Goswami continued, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and including Lord Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and the others, you can very quickly satisfy them. Or very quickly anger them. Oh, I didn't know that. What? Come back. Come back. He went to Pune. He was in Pune. Come on back. You with us now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He disappeared for a second. I just want to make sure we don't lose him, you know? So they're very quickly satisfied or very quickly angered by the good or ill behavior of their devotees. But this is not so with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Shri Krishna. This means that every living entity within the material world, including the demigods, is conducted by the three modes of material nature, and therefore the qualities of ignorance, passion are very prominent within the material world. Those devotees who take blessings from the demigods are also infected with material qualities, especially passion, raja, dhamma. So if you worship demigods, you'll cultivate raja, dhamma, lower modes of material nature. Therefore, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that to take the blessings from the demigods is less intelligent. Because one who takes benedictions from the demigods, all of those results of these so-called benediction, this is all temporary and degrading. I'll just jump ahead. When a devotee, what is that? So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they're very easily satisfied, but they're also very easily angered. And when satisfied, they give benedictions without consideration, of course, material benediction. But when they're angry, they curse the devotee without consideration. That's why everyone's fearful. You see? Many times I saw devotees, why they're not coming? They're so fearful if they don't do that yajna, if they don't perform those different rituals. So these demigods basically have a gun to your head. No, seriously, right? You didn't worship me properly, right? There's no bhakti, it's not a loving devotion, right? It's like if I don't do this, something really bad's going to happen to me and my family, right? It's like a blackmail. There's no loving devotion, right? So I just see, if they can't go do the person said they can't come and hear Bhagavatam because they didn't finish the rituals to the demigods. And I saw it's just so much fear because they will curse you. So if you don't want to get cursed by the demigods, right, you have to surrender to Krishna. It's the only way not to get cursed by the demigods. That's a nice motivation, right? Sometimes when you're trying to achieve something, you have to find motivation, right? Whatever motivates you, right? So if your fear of getting, cursed by a demigod, if that helps you to surrender to Krishna, okay, that's all right. They're doing you a favor. Sham, where are you, man? Are you in France? Are you going to join the French Foreign Legion? And go and fight against the, what is it? Who's the guys with the beard? The Chechens. Yeah. Sham's going to join the French Foreign Legion and fight against the Muslim Chechens. Good luck. Good luck with that. Lord Vishnu is not like that. Krishna. When you say Vishnu, it means Krishna, right? Lord Vishnu, Krishna, he first considers whether such a benediction will be ultimately, will it be good for that devotee? So if he fulfills that benediction, will it help my devotee? The Lord will never bestow any benediction which will ultimately prove disastrous to his devotee. So sometimes it says, be careful what you desire, because you might just get it. So if that's going to be disastrous, especially to his devotee, those who say they want to surrender to Krishna, Krishna's not going to give it to you. And Krishna says, and even if I did give it to you, you will never ever ask for that again. So what is that he gives it to you and at the end you're like, I'll never ever ask for that again. So that can't be a good experience. Right? If you're like, I will never ever ask for that again, well, did you have fun with that desire? Was that just all peaches and cream? Krishna's transcendental nature, he's always merciful. Therefore, before giving any benediction, he considers whether it will prove beneficial for his devotee. And since the Supreme Lord is always so merciful, even when it appears that he has killed the demon, or even when he apparently becomes angry towards his devotee, his actions are always auspicious. It's always meant to help them. Therefore, the Supreme Lord Bhagavan Shri Krishna is all good, all merciful. Maybe we'll read the second part of this tomorrow or something like that. Is that all right?
Yes.
Because now I'm to the stage where I was going to start. I guess we were supposed to discuss some other thing. So I hope that helped you. I feel like I got some benefit out of that. It re-emphasized, it recalibrates everything. Maya just confuses, contaminates, obscures, everything becomes very unsure, unclear, right? But when we hear Krishna, Guru Sadhu Shastra, it recalibrates everything. It recenters and focuses. Okay, who are we? Why are we here? What are we trying to achieve? What's the goal? What's the process? Where are we in that process? What can speed it up? What is slowing it down? What modifications, adjustments can we make in order for this to become more quickly successful? What are the pitfalls? Right? What are the dangers? What are the mistakes? What are the risks? Everything has to be understood clearly. That means exacting science. Otherwise, it's all just so wishy-washy. Just a sacrifice of compassion and love. The other night, last night, I think they had, or the night before, they had some nice kirtan was going on, really loud. Not the, what do they call it? Hindi techno. Hindi techno. That's painful, isn't it? That's painful. That's a bad combo. Isn't it? Think about it, right? Hindi techno. Boom, 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 boom. But in the midst of all of that madness, there was somebody chanting some bhajan somewhere, very loud other day. And I remember when I first came to Mayapur, you would hear different kirtan, like in the atmosphere, and it was very sweet, very nice, purifying. But somehow this atmosphere is so disturbed. It's not clear. It's not purifying. It's not sweet. And then when I was hearing that kirtan, I was trying to think, almost like trying to make it sweet, because technically it was materially very sophisticated and very professional. But everything, all I could hear is this narrow-minded guy screaming for name, fame, adoration, and distinction. With the microphone. Through the whole atmosphere, louder than the Hindi techno. So I'm battling between Hindi techno and this guy with the false ego like Lord Brahma, sucking in the three worlds to his name, fame, adoration, and distinction. It was so bitter. It wasn't sweet, because it's all selfish. There's no bhakti, no love, no affection. There's ego, false ego. That's the problem here. They can sing very, very professionally, very sweetly. Kirtan here, Bengal, like no other place, isn't it? The language, everything very sweet, should be. But it's become competition. Dancing with the stars, singing with the stars. Right? They have this different show, right? Who's the best singer?
Mayapur's got talent.
The voice. The voice, Mayapur, the voice. Right? And then you get all these guys with some stool on their head. Or in their heart. Or both. And everyone's like, woo! Where's the love, man? Where's the bhakti? My Gurudev, he grew up family of kirtaniers, famous in Orissa. From childhood, they're playing with really, really expert. Even every year we'll go there, they're playing, it's unbelievable. They're so expert. But Gurudev would make fun of them. He's like, boom, 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 He would just mimic them. Because it's all like false ego. It's all just like we're great, we're professional, we're, you know. So that kills it. So I was trying to somehow like do a psychological adjustment on myself to talk myself into how sweet that is. I really tried. Honestly, I really, really tried. And all I could see is this guy screaming, "Look at me! Hear me roar!" So it was painful. And I put on my noise-canceling headphones and fell asleep, you know. Even still, I had still Hindi techno and false ego, like torture, you know. We came to the holy Dham. So, where are they talking really seriously about this topic? It's not going on. And if it is, let me know. I'll go and hear myself. I'll run to that place. We need to hear some reality. It's refreshing, isn't it? Otherwise, it's all just like a smoke screen. Just like the bhakti smoke screen. And we're just like floating in it. I'm just getting some bhakti. I'm soaking in the bhakti. And then we're like, I'm still baffled, confused, no shelter, no protection. I have so many doubts, can't give up any bad habits. I'm basically more or less a demon, but a little more pious. I'm like a pious demon. Huh?
Pious demon.
It's a pious demon. Those who are worshipping Lord Shiva, right? They're pious demons. They're non-devotees, right? The karmi means non-devoted. Or mixed, to be very liberal. More like mixed up, but that's another question. So everybody, thank you very much for your kind attention, participation, letting me get some mercy today from Lord Shiva, and trying to recalibrate all of the madness of this world and the world within between our own ears, so we can just make things a little more simple, a little more clear, a little more concise. That's the beauty of as it is. It cuts away all these other variations of speculation and maya and unauthorized types of discussion, which is just based on cheating and vanchana. So hopefully we can avoid that by this type of discussion. Thank you, everybody. Shishi Gornitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami, Srila Gurudeva ki, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki, Gaura Premananda. Hari Hari.
Srila Gurudev ki.
Are these new cartels? I little used up all my energy. It's tough keeping your attention, you know. I gotta try to keep all you guys in the room, you know. All right, you ready? We have some dark cookies. No, they're not dark. They've burned all those poems. we killed his poetic potential. Now you're gonna write some more